Okay, welcome back to Awaken. I'm very excited for this episode. It's coming right on time because we had the 8/8 portal last week. And based on whatever you were supposed to be letting go or whatever you're maneuvering or like going through right now, relationships are a big part of how we are as humans. We are social beings, first and foremost. And whether it's romantic, platonic, or other, relationships can hurt us at some point. Relationships can end. Relationships can really just leave us a little bit heartbroken. And that heartbreak can be hard to let go of. That heartbreak can be hard to kind of move on from. And not just the heartbreak, but the stories that we have about someone might be very hard to let go of sometimes. And this episode was inspired because I was traveling recently and I met up with some friends, and I was having a conversation with a friend who was talking about friends that I used to have in the past, or that we used to have, talking about a situation that we had gone through together. And I could still hear a lot of anger and a lot of resentment coming from the people that she was talking about, especially when they were talking about the situation. And I was a little bit perplexed, to be honest, because I thought that we had all moved on and I thought that we had all kind of made peace with the situation and what had happened. But it felt to me like that situation was very much alive still, as if it was still here today in their eyes somehow. And that took me back a little bit. I was like, it made me reflect. And we had that conversation with my friend where I was like, why do we choose to hold on to things? And why do we choose to talk about an experience or a person in such a negative light and somehow enjoy that and enjoy replaying that over and over? Like, what keeps us stuck there, right? And we came to the conclusion that obviously some people, depending, and this might be your experience as well, but we came to the conclusion that some people have big emotions about an experience that they're not allowing themselves to experience. So sometimes very often when there's anger, there's sadness right behind it. There's hurt right behind that as well. And any situation that you're still holding on to with a lot of anger, you're probably not allowing yourself to feel the emotions behind that, right? Because why keep the anger alive? Why keep the anger so open? And so that inspired this episode. This conversation inspired this episode. And on my way home, I was like writing down all the ways in which I've found for myself to be able to let go of people, and not just people, to be able to learn what I was supposed to be learning through those people, right? Whether it's a romantic partner, a friendship, platonic, business, whatever it is that kind of ruptured and broke, there's always something to learn from that experience. And that's what I want to get into first and foremost, to give a bit of some context to relationships. The first thing we need to understand is that relationships are contracts. Everything that you come here on this planet to do relationally with another is usually something you're here to learn together, something you're here to integrate together, something you're here to transcend together. There's many different reasons why people choose the people that they've chosen in their lives. And very often, if not always, it's already written. Almost. It's already outlined. It's been outlined by both your souls to go through an experience together so that you could both ascend and continue evolving in your soul journey. Your job in the contract is always to learn what was supposed to be learned in the situation and basically take the lessons and move on and keep moving on your path. What we as humans have distorted is that we love the stories that we get to tell about experiences. We love the stories that we get to recount. And it's especially true for negative stories. We love to be able to kind of like stand on a hill and be like, that person was so toxic. That person was so terrible. That person was a liar. That person was insert whatever thing, right? And we love to hold on to those stories because as humans, we love to suffer. We love a sappy story. We love to hold on to lower frequencies because they are more comfortable. They're easier to access as well. And at the end of the day, our distortion towards wanting to tell the stories, towards wanting to keep something alive because we are the winner, they are the loser, or because they hurt us and now I'm, is keeping us away from understanding that it was never about the person. It was never about the situation. It was never about the other. It was always about my role in the dynamic and my lessons as part of that dynamic, as part of that contract. That's it. The moment we fall into the stories of a situation, which is very ego-based, and we love it, we all love it. I'm also complicit of this. sorry, I'm also complicit of this. Sometimes, something happens and all you want to do to get it out of your system is vent or talk about a person or replay a story because you're so mad or whatever. But the moment you enter into that, first of all, you're dancing with, your ego. You're dancing with Satan, like they like to call it in Kabbalah. You're dancing with the part of you that is obsessed and that is so comfortable in the suffering, in the negativity, in the lower densities of this earth. What your soul really wants, what your higher self really wants, what your soul evolution plan really is for you to say, hey, wait, it was never about the person. What was I here to learn through this person? What was I here to take from this experience, right? What was I here to evolve out of and maybe something into and then into, right? If we don't take that moment of reflection, it's very easy for us to, again, fall into those negative patterns of believing that by us keeping a story alive from a negative perspective, we're good. We're in power. We're still, we're the shit in some way, right? But whoever you're talking about and whatever situation you're talking about, first of all, it doesn't exist anymore. That person that you're talking about, whether it's a lover, a friend, whatever experience you're still holding on to and you're thinking about in a specific light, it doesn't exist anymore. And I'm sorry to break it to you, but that person is not the same anymore either. That situation is long gone. That person has long changed, long moved on. That person has evolved out of whatever little cage you've kept them in your mind. And the most important thing to understand about that is that you've also changed. You've also evolved. You've also outgrown whatever version of yourself allowed for that experience to happen. So in understanding that, you can give not just yourself compassion and say, hey, actually, I was also in that experience and I also allowed that experience to happen. I co-created that with that person. Okay, I'm going to hold compassion for myself because at the time I was maybe not knowledgeable enough, maybe not aware enough to allow this person to hurt me or to do whatever they did to me. And at the same time, I'm going to hold space for them and I'm going to hold compassion for them not knowing better. They didn't know better at the time because if they knew better, they could have done better, but they didn't. So I'm going to hold compassion for both. Once I've held compassion for both, I can absolve and say, oh, actually, it was never about them. It was always about me. This brings me on to the first point about all of this, which is it's your choice to want to let it go. You are going to have to make the choice to say, I'm ready to let this go. However long that takes, you're going to have to be making that call. No matter how much time goes by, no matter who you meet, no matter who comes into your life next, no matter what other friends come in, what other romantic partners come in, no matter what ex, those things are never going to help you remove this experience from your psyche if you don't choose to remove this experience from your psyche. Understanding this helps you solve 90% of the problem and 90% of the heaviness of having to hold on to this, because then you realize, wait, I am in control and I am in power because I have the choice to basically hold on to this or not. Once you've made that choice and once you've said, okay, I choose to let this go. I choose to move on, to let this story go, because at the end of the day, it's really just a story that you're telling yourself. I'm choosing to let this story go. You can now move into accepting that the moment is over. The moment no longer is present, because if it was, it would be right next to you. It would be right in front of you. It would be happening right now. It's not, right? So what can you tell yourself? You can say, okay, I've made the choice to move on. I've made the choice to accept that I want to let the story go. Number 2, I accept that this moment no longer is present. This moment does not exist in the present moment. It exists in a past tense with a distorted idea of what even was, because memory is flawed. So my own distortions over time have probably made the story better or worse. I don't know. That's up to you to decide. And I am now allowing for that story to go because I accept that it's not happening right now in this very moment. Okay? So once you've made the choice to let go and you've accepted that this moment no longer is here, if you still are having a hard time saying, oh, I'm going to let this go, catch yourself and understand, what identity are you not allowing yourself to move on from? What identity are you not allowing yourself to let go of? This could be the martyr. This could be the victim, being in this comfortable persona of being the person that was let down. I was the hurt one. They were the terrible one. I was innocent. I didn't do anything. I'm perfect. Catch yourself. What persona are you trying to exhibit? Are you trying to play through to not take responsibility for your lesson in this contract? Oh, I love replaying this moment because it gives me power. I lost my power with them and now I have it back. Oh, I love replaying this moment because they made me look so bad and now I can make them look so bad. Whatever it is, whatever the story is that you subconsciously are narrating in your head, what identity are you choosing to still hold on to feel better about yourself, to stay comfortable, essentially? And this brings me back to the first point that I said at the beginning. This was never about them. The breakup was never about them. The rupture in the friendship was never about them. None of it was ever about them or how bad they were to you, what they did, who they said, whatever. The whole thing was about you. It was about your soul evolution. It was about the lesson you were supposed to learn out of this. It was about how can you stand in light, not default to darkness. How can you stand in the light and shine that as bright as possible? That means forgiving the person no matter how wrong they were to you. Accepting that they are human and they are learning too. Accepting that these people, whoever it is, whether it's a lover or a friend, they learn. People are not static in time. People change. People grow. People evolve, and they literally, if they want to, obviously, become better versions of themselves over time. Can you accept that that's true? Or is that hurting the ego part of you that's like, oh my God, if they're a better version of themselves now, that's just going to break my entire story about them. And that's going to break my own egoic little distortion that I've been creating for the past few years. I could never believe that they're better because then, oh my God, that makes, who am I if they're better? Where is the ego really just playing with itself in here? Okay, I really want us to shift this right now. I want us to do this right here. If you're driving, maybe replay this back later, or you can listen to it and just not close your eyes. But I really want us to do this together so that we can create and at least bring in higher frequencies and higher emotions in your body so that you can maybe after this episode begin the process of letting them go. Okay. Whoever you're thinking about or whoever was brought up to you as you were listening to me, as you were listening to this episode, I want you to think of that person and I want you to think of that scenario, whoever it was. Maybe it was a teacher, maybe it was a parent, maybe it was a friend, a lover. I don't care. Think about that person. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to put a hand over your chest. I want you to picture them in front of you. Once you're picturing them in front of you, and this is very powerful, I want you to say this out loud after me. I forgive you for not knowing better. I forgive you for having treated me the way you treated me. I know now that hurt people hurt people. And you were probably hurting in your own way. I understand that we're human. And we're allowed to make mistakes. We're allowed to be messy. I've been messy. I've made mistakes. I've also hurt people. So I forgive you. And I forgive myself. It's okay. And I want you to feel that in your body. Whatever it created, even if nothing, that's okay. I want you to feel whatever that created. We're now just trying to allow higher frequencies to enter the field. We're allowing higher frequencies to inhabit your body so that you can really taste and jump on it and take it forward, right? And, moving on doesn't take away from your battle scars. That's something that I hope we all remember. By the way, you can open your eyes or you can keep them closed, do whatever you want. But moving on doesn't take away from our battle scars. You still experienced what you experienced. The beautiful aspect of it all is that you get to recount how you grew and how you learned from that experience. Speaking negatively about the experience or about the person doesn't bring you any closer to your higher self. It doesn't bring you any closer to the highest level of your soul expansion. It just keeps you tethered to a reality that you don't need to be in. Because what it essentially is translating is that there's unfelt emotions about that experience. The moment you're able to transcend and actually transmute and really feel the emotions of that experience and really say, you know what, I'm fucking angry and I fucking hate her and I want to punch a pillow or I hate him or whoever. and you let yourself feel that, and you let yourself just like really melt into that experience, you're allowing your body to say, oh, cool. Okay. Experience is done. Okay. I don't really care anymore. I don't care who they are. I don't care what they do. I don't care if their character is good or bad, because I'm light, because I felt it, because I'm happy again, you know? And if you don't allow yourself to experience that, you're just going to carry that weight in your body. Energetically, it's going to be more density in your body, probably going to be illness at some point if it really is a story that you're perpetuating over time. And probably it's going to come in the form of chronic pain or pains in general or whatever it is. But emotions are not going to just freely live in you. They'll make themselves heard and they'll make themselves known. So please allow yourself to feel whatever you have to feel. Allow yourself to swiftly move on. And something I want to say is, if throughout this whole episode you were like, I still feel like shit and I still feel like I hate them, that's fine. Hold yourself in that. Maybe you're not ready to let them go. Maybe you're not ready to learn the lesson. That's okay. But what I will say is, if there's anything that's left unsaid, if there's anything left that you haven't voiced to this person, that you haven't said to this person, write them a letter. If you can, call them. If you can, do anything that you can do to get that out of your system, to let them know. You don't have to tell them they're a horrible person, but you can tell them, hey, it really hurt me. And this experience just left me completely broken. And I, to this day, don't know how to pick myself up again. I don't know. Whatever it is that you want them, that you just want to say, say it. But do it from a giving place. Do it from a place of love and not darkness. The universe is ever expansive and it always just wants to give us love. If we are to ever come back to our God self and our higher self, we don't spread hate. We don't spread darkness. We spread as much light as we can to whoever, to whomever, whenever, no matter how much they hurt you, no matter how much you feel like they betrayed you or whatever it is. How much light can you hold in that moment once you've gone through the emotions of feeling the hurt and the pain and the grief and the whatever it is, you know? Once those emotions are felt, how can you carry the most amount of light about the situation? How can you carry the most amount of positive energy towards the situation? That's what's going to bring you closer and closer and closer to yourself. Everything else will just keep you separate. Lastly, before I go, because I feel like I'm done here, I just want to say your soul is constantly craving evolution, not repetition. And if you are stuck in a cycle, repeating the cycle, you're not allowing for the karmic lessons and the karmic trajectory of your soul to just happen. You're keeping your soul stuck at an inflection point that was just supposed to be a little bump. You're making that bump massive. So whoever you're holding on to, especially if it's a lover, because I've had this in the past, lovers are tough to let go of, especially the ones that have like really marked you and, you know, like really gotten into your heart. Especially for those, I want you to know that your soul chose that person specifically for you to learn something. And that's probably going to be one of the hardest lessons and the hardest things to like accept and move on from. And I hear you. I hear you. But do it. Do it for your soul evolution. Do it for the contract. Do it for yourself. Choose to let go. Accept the moment is not here anymore and forgive them. And then let yourself move on. You know, I don't think we ever fully move on from a situation. I don't think we ever really like, you know, our memory is when she wants to remember, she wants to remember. So I'm not going to say that one day you're just going to forget them. You're just going to forget the situation. You're just going to move on so magically and forget. No, the story will stay alive probably somewhere in your psyche. What's not going to be alive though is the emotional charge and the energetic hook that you have to that experience. You're going to be able to tell that story like it's you telling me about your grocery shopping this morning. You know, you're going to be able to talk about it like it's, I don't know, a pleasant memory that you had, instead of this energetic tie, this energetic cost that you're having to pay by holding on to it with such strong charge. I hope this episode helped someone, to be honest. I wish I had made this episode when I was going through my breakup years ago. That one was a tough to fucking let go. And if I had heard this, I think I would have been like, oh my God, namaste. Namaste. Let's let him go. But whatever, we live and we learn. And I hope this helps one cute little 24-year-old who's going through a breakup right now and cannot let this person go. Okay, I think that's it. If you have listened this far, leave a little dolphin. I love them. Maybe I'll change it at some point. You know what? I'm going to flip it on you at some point. You're not going to know. Okay, if you've come this far, and I'm only doing this for you guys, I'm not going to announce this anywhere else except here and for the people that have gotten to the end, I'm going to give you something, okay? For a long time, I loved doing human design readings, and I've evolved out of that. I have fallen into my psychic abilities this past few years, and this year specifically, I've been trying to take them more seriously, and I've been trying to really shizzle at them. So I'm going to give away 3 readings. What are these readings for? We basically dive into your soul. What is going on right now? What blocks are you not seeing? What activations your soul will download, or your guides will usually channel into the session an activation, whether it's a meditation or an exercise that you're supposed to do, something. They'll always bring in something for the person that I'm doing a reading for. And every exercise and every activation they bring in is so different, which is why I fucking love these readings. But I want to give it to you. Okay. So I'm going to give away 3, whoever you are, if you've made it this far. I want to give this to you. Just DM me on Instagram. My Instagram's in the description. DM me a lucky star. Literally just write lucky star, and I'll know you're one of the lucky stars. And then we'll schedule a reading and we'll get you unclogged. We'll literally get you unconstipated. Okay. I'm really excited to be gifting these because I really want to give back to the people that listen, and in general to the community that I'm growing, because we're going through tough times, guys. The earth is not pretty right now. And I've been blessed enough to bring myself onto this path of, energetics and understanding and seeing beyond the veil. And I know not everybody can see that or can feel into these things. And sometimes you just need somebody that can just calm you, and tell you hey, everything's going to be fine. What you're seeing as a mountain is actually a rock. And I'm going to help you see that it's just a rock, and that you can overcome it, because you are almighty and you are so fucking powerful. You just need a reminder. All right. I love you guys so much. See you next time. And I guess that's it. I really think that's it. I love you. Ciao.